Hi, this is the video lesson for our charts and graphs class for today. We've been talking about maps. We talked about some of the features that we find on maps like titles, compass rose, scale of miles, map keys or legends. And today we want to talk about movement on maps, how we show how things move around over time or over space on a map. This is a very common thing that we see on the social studies test or the science tests on the GED or the HiSET, showing movement across an area or over time. So the maps that we're going to look at, some of them are political maps, some of them are physical maps, some of them are a combination of both. We find the same features that we've learned to look for on maps. So if we take a look at our first map on page number 18, we have a map. The title says American Revolution 1776 to 1777. So just 1 year at the beginning of the American Revolution. We have, on that map, we have a compass rose on the left-hand side. It shows north, south, east, west. We also have down at the bottom a scale of miles, so we can measure distance if we need to. And we also have a map key. Now, the map key shows us two different kinds of lines. Mine copies in black and white. Yours is in color, I hope. It's a black line, I believe, for the British forces, the British Army, where they moved from one place to another. And I think it's a red line for the American forces, how they moved from one place to another. Now, if we haven't really studied our history, if we don't know a lot about the American Revolution, remember, we're thinking about how to read the graphics that we find on maps. We're not so worried about the content, what the maps are about. What I want us to see is that we can very often answer questions even if we don't know a lot about the content. So maybe we haven't studied the American Revolution. I don't want us to get alarmed when we see a map like this about that, because remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep our confidence high during a test like this. The more confident we feel, the better we do generally. The more worried we are, the more anxious we are, the more unconfident that we are, the worse we do, because we've talked about this before. We don't have access to the parts of our mind if we're tense or nervous or upset that we do if we're relaxed and confident and calm, right? So don't worry if we're not sure about the American Revolution. Let's just see what we can answer about this map just by being able to read the map, okay? So question, the other thing that is on this map are little star or explosive little things, red ones that show battles where the Americans prevailed, where they won, black ones that show places where battles happened that the British won or prevailed. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, the movement on maps sometimes shows us what happened over time. So we can see what happened first, what happened second, what happened third. Sometimes the movement on maps shows us that. That's called chronology. Chronology, C-H-R-O-N-O-L-O-G-Y. Chronos was the Greek god of time. Log is a Greek or Latin root that means writing or recording or written down. So a chronology, a chronology means the writing or the recording over time. So you'll notice that on this map that we're looking at, we've got those lines, but next to each of those little explosive little star-looking things, there is a place name and a date. So we can see what battles happened where, what the name of the place was, and what the date of that battle was. Okay, now we also notice the black lines coming onto the map from off the right side of the map, because that's the course of the British forces And of course, where did the British forces begin? They began in England, right? Coming over to the United States. Or it wasn't the United States then, it was the colonies. Okay, look at question number 1. The New York, New Jersey military campaign marked a key turning point for the colonial army in the American Revolution. Based on the map, now don't worry if that doesn't make a lot of sense, just say, based on the map, what were the first and last battle sites of the campaign? So we know that the battle sites, the locations of the battles, are the little explosive looking things. So if we see where's the earliest one, looking at the dates, and when was the last battle, looking at the date. If we look at all those little battles on there, we can see that the first battle that's listed was in Long Island in 1770. And if we look at the last battle, we can see that that was in Princeton on January 3rd, 1977. Now, how do I know that's the first and the last? Look at the lines. They have arrows on them. So we can see the British forces follow the arrow from out in the sea. The arrows point up to Long Island first, and then they go north, 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 and then they begin going southwest, down, down, down to Trenton, and then back up to Princeton, where the last battle of this campaign, this fight for New York and New Jersey. We know this is New York and New Jersey because look, we have the postal codes for the states around here. See, NY for New York, PA for Pennsylvania, NJ for New Jersey, CT for Connecticut. I hope you're using your Shepherd software games to make sure you're learning all those postal codes and the names of all those states and where they're located. Very important before you try to take the test to really know all that stuff really, really well. Okay, so we can see that the first battle was in Long Island, the last battle was in Princeton. That's answer C. Okay? All right. Number 2, where did the British forces go after the Battle of White Plains? So we're watching for the British forces. So that's going to be the black arrows, the black lines and arrows. And we're going to see where they went after White Plains. So find the White Plains battle. It's up in the upper right-hand side of the map. Then follow the black lines from there down to the next places. So generally these black lines and arrows head southwest, south and west, southwest on the map. And they're going from White Plains, which is in New York, down toward New Jersey, right? Into New Jersey. So that means that the answer is A. They went southwest into New Jersey. They didn't go, after White Plains, they didn't go north across the Hudson River, because if you find where the Hudson River is on here, it's listed, right? They're not going north next. The American Army went north next, but the British Army went southwest. They're not going south across Long Island Sound. They're not going southeast to Staten Island. They're going A, southwest into New Jersey. Okay, let's take a look on the next page, page 19. We're going to go to another video.